There was nothing strange about apartment 302 until the knocking started. It began one Thursday night, just past 11:30. Ryan was half asleep on the couch, the TV buzzing low in the dark, when he heard it. 3 slow knocks. Not at his door. Across the hall. He ignored it the first time. Probably someone locked out again. The old building was notorious for that. Thin walls, flickering lights, tenants who came and went without saying a word. But the knocking kept coming. 3 knocks. Then silence. 3 more. Then, after a pause, a woman's voice. "Please, let me in." Ryan froze. It wasn't pleading. It wasn't even scared. It was just flat, like she was reciting a line she'd said 1,000 times. He peeked through the peephole. The hallway was empty. No woman, no sound, just the faint hum of the elevator at the end of the corridor. He almost laughed it off. Sleep deprivation, that's all. But the next night, it happened again. Same time, same 3 knocks, same voice. "Please, let me in." Only this time it sounded closer, like she was standing right outside his door. Ryan backed away, holding his breath. The apartment was silent except for the low buzz of the fridge. He thought about calling the landlord, but what would he say? "A ghost is knocking at my neighbor's door?" So he did nothing. For 3 nights straight, he did nothing. And every night, the knocking came back, slower, heavier, closer. On the 4th night, Ryan cracked. He decided to wait. He turned off the lights, sat by the door, and waited in the dark with his phone recording. The hallway clock ticked past 11:30. Silence. Then, tap, 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 3 knocks. He held his breath. Then, the voice. "Please, let me in." He leaned closer to the peephole. This time, he saw something. A woman, pale, hair dripping wet, wearing a hospital gown. She stood perfectly still, facing apartment 302. Ryan's heartbeat hammered in his ears. He could see her mouth moving, whispering the same words over and over, but her voice didn't match her lips. It was delayed, like a broken recording. Then, slowly, she turned and stared directly into his peephole. Ryan jumped back, his phone clattering to the floor. He didn't dare make a sound. After a long pause, 3 slow knocks, this time on his door. He waited in silence for almost an hour, too scared to move. Eventually, he checked the footage. The hallway was empty the entire time. The next morning, Ryan went to the building office. The manager, an old guy named Carl, looked tired when Ryan explained everything. Carl sighed and said quietly, "You're in 301, right?" Ryan nodded. Carl hesitated. "That woman you saw, she used to live in 302. Her name was Emily Carter. He stopped. Ryan leaned forward. "She what?" Carl rubbed the back of his neck. "She jumped from the roof about a year ago, but the weird part is, her body wasn't found for 3 days. We only realized when the tenant across the hall complained about the smell." Ryan's stomach turned. He left the office in silence. That night he couldn't sleep. Every sound made him flinch. Pipes, creaks, wind. He turned on every light, kept the TV running for noise, and sat on the couch until sunrise. By the 5th night, he was barely functioning. He decided to leave, just one more night, then he'd find another place. But around midnight, his phone buzzed. Unknown number. He answered. Static. Then a faint whisper. "Please, let me in." Ryan's blood ran cold. He hung up immediately, tossed the phone aside, and then bang, bang, bang. 3 loud knocks on the door. He grabbed a kitchen knife, his hands trembling. Through the peephole, nothing. Until suddenly the lights in the hallway flickered, and in that stuttering light he saw her again. Emily, standing inches from his door, her face pale and wet, eyes empty. Her hand slowly lifted, and she pointed directly at him. Then the light went out. The next morning, Ryan didn't show up for work. Or the next. Carl, the building manager, knocked on 301 after neighbors complained about a smell. No answer. He unlocked the door. The apartment was dark. Everything was untouched. Dishes in the sink, TV on mute. He stepped inside and immediately gagged. The stench was unbearable. Carl called the cops. They found Ryan's body in the bathtub. Water murky. Phone floating beside him. Screen cracked. Cause of death, unknown. No forced entry. No signs of struggle. When police checked the phone, they found one saved voicemail. Timestamp, 11:33 p.m., the night before. It was faint, mostly static, but under the distortion you could hear a woman whisper, "Please, let me in." But here's the part no one talks about. After the investigation, apartment 301 stayed empty for months. Until last week, when a new tenant moved in. A young woman named Emily Carter. And the first night she slept there, she swore she heard knocking coming from across the hall. Marcus worked the night shift at a corporate tower downtown. 27 floors of glass, steel, and silence after midnight. He liked it that way. No bosses, no coworkers, no noise. Just him, the faint buzz of the vending machine, and the sound of his cartwheels echoing through empty halls. Until that one night. The night the elevator opened on a floor that didn't exist. It was 2:47 a.m. when Marcus finished mopping the 18th floor. He pushed his cart into the elevator, hit the button for the lobby, and leaned back with a sigh. The doors slid shut. The elevator began to hum. Then, it stopped. Not the usual jerk or beep. It just froze mid-descent. Marcus frowned and checked the panel. No lights were flashing, no emergency signal. But the floor indicator, the digital screen above the door, was flickering. Instead of numbers, it was showing 1. He blinked. There was no basement in this building. The lowest level was the parking garage, floor 1. Then the elevator shuddered once, and the doors slowly opened. What he saw made no sense. The hallway looked the same gray carpet, same fluorescent lights, but the air felt wrong, heavy, like the oxygen itself was stale. The walls were damp, streaked with brown water stains, and every light flickered faintly, like they hadn't been changed in years. He stepped out, hesitating. "Hello?" No response. Down the hall, a faint shadow moved past a door window. Someone else was here. "Security?" he called out. "Anyone down here?" Silence. He pushed his cart forward, each squeak echoing like a scream in the stillness. Every office he passed was dark, furniture covered in white sheets. And then he noticed the signs on the doors were different. Instead of company names, each one had a person's name. Robert Lang, HR Susan Ortega, Legal Marcus Dean, Janitorial. He froze. That was his name. He turned slowly toward the door. His hand shook as he touched the handle, cold metal, damp like it had been sitting in water. The door creaked open. Inside, the room was filled with cleaning equipment, the same cart, same mop, same uniform. And sitting at the desk, facing away from him, was someone wearing his jacket. Marcus's voice cracked. "Hey, who's there?" The figure didn't move. Then slowly, its head turned. But not like a person turns. It rotated too far until the chin nearly touched the shoulder. Marcus stumbled backward, breath ragged. The lights flickered, and in that momentary blackout, he saw it clearly. The face was his. Only pale, lifeless, with empty, sunken eyes staring right through him. The lights blinked again, and the figure was gone. Marcus ran for the elevator. He slammed the button repeatedly until the doors opened. He rushed inside, heart hammering. The doors closed, the panel lit up again. This time it read 18. When the doors opened, everything looked normal again. Bright lights, clean air, silent offices. He didn't wait. He grabbed his bag and left the building without finishing his shift. The next morning, Marcus told the daytime janitor what happened. The guy just stared at him. "Floor -1?" he said. "That's not even possible, man. This place doesn't have a sublevel." Marcus nodded. "I know what I saw. There were doors, lights, everything. It was real." The janitor looked uneasy, then said, "You ever heard what happened here before they remodeled?" Marcus frowned. "No." The man leaned in. Before this company bought it, the tower was owned by a government contractor. The lower levels, they were sealed off. Something about an accident during construction. Few workers died. No one knows how. The blueprints still show an unfinished subfloor, but no one's ever found it. Marcus laughed nervously, trying to shake the chill. But he didn't go back that night. He quit. He told himself it was just fatigue, stress, imagination. Until 3 weeks later. He got a call from the building's security office. A guard recognized his name on a schedule and wanted to return his last paycheck in person. Marcus agreed to meet him at the lobby after hours. It was almost midnight when he arrived. The building was quiet again, just as he remembered. The guard wasn't there yet, so Marcus waited near the elevator. And that's when he noticed the floor display again. It was glowing faintly, but instead of 1, it flickered. 1. The elevator doors slid open by themselves. Inside, the lights were dim. The same stale air rolled out. Marcus froze. His phone buzzed in his hand. Unknown number. He answered. Static. Then a voice, faint, distant, but familiar. "Where are you going?" Marcus whispered. "Who is this?" The voice replied, calm and identical to his own. "You forgot to finish cleaning." The line went dead. The elevator doors began to close. Marcus turned to run, but as he looked at his reflection in the mirrored wall, he saw it wasn't reflecting him anymore. The man in the mirror was still standing inside the elevator, smiling. Then the door shut. Security footage from that night shows Marcus entering the lobby at 11:57 p.m., standing alone near the elevators. At 12:03, the doors open. He looks inside and steps forward. The elevator descends 1 floor. Then the indicator flickers off completely. It never opens again. The next morning, the elevator was found stuck between floors, perfectly functional but empty. And yet, at 2:47 a.m., the janitorial motion sensors on floor 1 recorded activity. Wet footprints, a mop dragging slowly across the tiles. If you ever work the night shift in a quiet building, and you see a button you've never seen before, don't press it. Because once those doors open, someone's already waiting for you. It was 12:47 a.m. when Daniel picked her up, a woman standing alone at a deserted bus stop, drenched from the rain. He almost didn't stop. He hated driving late shifts, but his rideshare app pinged, pickup, 11th and Alder Street. Her name flashed on the screen, Lydia. He slowed the car, headlights cutting through the fog. She stepped forward, shivering beneath a soaked coat, her hair plastered to her face. Daniel rolled down the window slightly. "You Lydia?" She nodded without a word, climbed in, and shut the door softly. Her destination popped up, Old Pine View Cemetery, 8 miles north. Daniel frowned. "That's a strange place to go this late." She didn't respond, just stared out the window, raindrops running down the glass like tiny rivers. The car rolled through the empty streets, wipers thudding in rhythm. The radio was playing low, old classic rock, distorted by static. After a few minutes, Daniel tried to make conversation. "So, visiting someone?" The woman turned slightly, her voice calm but distant. "I need to see him. It's been a long time." Daniel nodded awkwardly, feeling the unease crawl under his skin. When they passed a streetlight, he noticed her reflection in the glass. She wasn't blinking, just staring straight ahead, lips slightly parted. He coughed, trying to lighten the mood. "You sure the address is right? There's nothing up there except the cemetery," she finished. "Yes, I know." The road grew darker as they left the city behind. No cars, no houses, just wet asphalt, trees, and fog thick enough to choke on. Daniel's phone lost signal halfway there. The GPS froze, voice repeating, Turn left in 200 feet. Turn left in 200 feet. He swore under his breath and pulled over. Sorry, signal's gone. You remember the way? The woman finally turned to face him. Her eyes were glassy, expression blank. Just keep going. I'll tell you when. He forced a smile. Sure thing. But his gut was twisting tighter with every mile. A few minutes later, the air inside the car grew colder. Daniel turned the heater up, but it didn't help. His breath fogged the windshield. Then she spoke, almost whispering, "Do you believe people can come back if they never got to say goodbye?" He gripped the steering wheel tighter. "Come back?" he repeated. "You mean, like ghosts?" She smiled faintly, the first sign of emotion since she got in. "Not ghosts, just people who never made it home." Daniel glanced at her, uneasy. "Yeah, I guess that makes sense." Then he noticed her seatbelt. It wasn't buckled. "Hey, can you put that on? It's slippery out." But she wasn't listening anymore. She was humming something, a low, broken melody that sent chills crawling up his spine. Finally, they reached the old cemetery gates, rusted iron, half buried in weeds, the sign barely visible through fog. "This the place?" he asked. She nodded. "Could you wait for me? I won't be long." Daniel hesitated. "You sure it's safe? It's pouring out." She opened the door anyway and stepped out, rain instantly soaking her coat. He sighed and turned the hazards on. Through the windshield, he watched her walk slowly up the path, past the gate, through the fog, until she vanished between the headstones. 5 minutes passed, then 10. Daniel checked his phone again. No signal. He rubbed his face, exhausted. "This is insane," he muttered. "Just leave." But something in him said, "Wait." He stared at the darkness beyond the gate. Then, a flash of movement. Someone was walking back toward the car. At first, he thought it was her, but as the figure stepped into the headlights, he realized it wasn't. It was a man, soaked, dirty, wearing a torn gray hoodie, his face hidden in the shadow. Daniel's heart jumped. He locked the doors immediately. The man stopped in front of the car and tilted his head slightly, as if studying him. Then he reached out and tried the door handle. Daniel hit the gas. The tires screeched on the wet pavement as he sped off, his pulse thundering. He didn't look back. When he reached the main road again, his phone signal returned. He pulled over and checked the app. No record of a passenger named Lydia. No ride logged. No payment pending. Nothing. He checked his dash cam, the one he always kept running. The video showed the pickup point clearly. Him stopping, door opening, but no one getting in. The passenger seat was empty. Daniel stared at the screen, frozen. His heart felt like it stopped beating. Then he noticed something else. At the very end of the footage, after he sped away, for a split second, the camera caught the man in the gray hoodie, standing under the bus stop light. Next to him, the same woman. She was smiling. He rushed back, slamming the door and starting the engine, but the dashboard lights were flickering wildly. The radio crackled, static. Then a voice. "Next pickup, 11th and Alder Street." He froze. That was the same intersection, the same time. The passenger name flashed again. Lydia. Daniel's hands trembled. He whispered, No, I'm done." He turned off the phone, but the car screen lit up again by itself. The rideshare app reopened automatically. The same destination. Old Pineview Cemetery. Then, from the back seat, a soft voice said, "I told you I wouldn't be long." Police found Daniel's car the next morning. Engine still running, doors locked from the inside. The windshield wipers were moving back and forth, but the driver's seat was empty. On the passenger side, faint muddy footprints led from the seat, out into the rain, and stopped halfway down the road. If you're ever driving late at night and see someone standing alone at a bus stop, especially when it's raining, don't stop. Some rides aren't meant to be given. The diner was nearly empty when he walked in. 2:13 a.m., rain pouring down outside, washing the streets clean of sound and life. Martha wiped her hands on her apron and forced a smile. "Sit anywhere you like, hun." The man didn't answer. He just nodded slightly and slid into the booth by the window, the one under the flickering neon sign that buzzed open like a dying heartbeat. He was tall, wearing a dark coat, his hair dripping wet. No luggage, no phone, just a blank stare fixed on the rain outside. Martha poured him a cup of coffee. "Rough night?" she asked, trying to sound casual. The man didn't look up. He stirred the coffee slowly, spoon scraping against the ceramic cup. Then finally he said in a calm, flat voice, "Couldn't sleep." Martha chuckled softly. "You and me both." But something about him made her uneasy. Maybe it was his tone, too calm, or maybe it was the way he never blinked. She shrugged it off and walked back to the counter. The diner was dead quiet except for the ticking clock and the hum of the neon sign outside. Her co-worker Benny was asleep in the back booth, head buried in his arms. It wasn't unusual. Nobody came in at this hour except truckers or drunks, and the highway had been closed since the storm hit. Martha looked out the window. No cars, no headlights, just rain and fog stretching forever. Then she noticed something. There were wet footprints on the floor, leading from the front door to the man's booth, but none leading back. She poured herself some coffee, trying to shake the chill running down her spine. When she looked back, the man was watching her, not casually, just staring, unblinking. "Can I get you anything else?" she asked, forcing another smile. He tilted his head slightly. "Do you believe people can be erased?" Martha blinked. "Erased?" He nodded. "Like they were never here, not dead, just gone." She laughed nervously. "Well, I guess everyone leaves a mark somehow, right?" He smiled faintly, but his eyes didn't change. "I used to think that too." Benny stirred in the back, mumbling something, then dozed off again. Martha decided to ignore the weird conversation, probably just some lonely insomniac rambling nonsense. She turned to refill the coffee pot, but when she looked back, the man was gone. The booth was empty. The cup was still half full, and there were no new footprints leading to the door. Her stomach tightened. "Benny," she whispered, shaking his shoulder. He groaned. "What? I'm up. "There was a guy here," she said. "Dark coat. He just vanished." Benny rubbed his eyes. "Martha, it's 2 a.m. You sure you didn't—" Then he stopped, because the man was suddenly sitting back in the booth. Same spot, same stillness. Benny froze. "I swear he wasn't there a second ago." Martha nodded slowly. "Yeah, I know." She turned toward the booth, but it was empty again. The man had disappeared. The sound of rain grew louder. Thunder rumbled, shaking the windows. Martha grabbed the phone behind the counter. Dead line. She tried her cell again. No service. Then she saw movement outside. A shadow standing just beyond the glass. The shape was blurred by rain, tall, still, and facing the diner. Martha whispered, "Benny, please tell me that's you." But deep down, she knew it wasn't. The figure started walking toward the door. Slow, steady steps. The bell above the entrance jingled once, and the man from the booth stepped inside again, dry this time, completely dry, no rain on his coat, no wet shoes, not a single drop. Martha stumbled backward, her breath catching. "What do you want from me?" He looked around the diner, then back at her. "You still think people leave a mark?" She shook her head, terrified. "Please, just tell me what's happening." He leaned in slightly, eyes almost human now. "You're closing soon." Then, without another word, he sat back down. Then came the sound, a faint tapping from the kitchen, steady, rhythmic, like someone chopping meat. Martha froze. "Benny!" She pushed through the swinging door and screamed. The kitchen was spotless, not a single thing out of place, except for the cutting board in the center of the counter and the wet apron folded neatly beside it. On the board was a single, still warm coffee cup, steam curling upward. She stepped closer, hand trembling, and saw her own name carved into the wooden handle of the knife beside it. Martha. The lights flickered again. The air felt thick, electric. She turned, and the man was standing in the doorway, closer than before, expression blank. He whispered, "It's time." She screamed and swung the knife wildly, but he didn't move, didn't flinch, didn't even seem to exist where she aimed. Then everything went black. When Martha opened her eyes, daylight was streaming through the window. The diner was silent. She sat up slowly. Benny was gone. The coffee cup was gone. Even the clock had been reset. 8 a.m. She stumbled outside into the cool morning air. Cars passed on the highway. Everything looked normal again. Relief washed through her. Maybe it had been a breakdown, a hallucination. But when she turned back to look at the diner, her heart stopped. The sign above the door didn't say Denny's Diner anymore. It said, "Open 24 hours, under new management." And behind the counter inside, through the glass, she saw the man, smiling, pouring coffee for a new customer. Police later found the diner spotless. No trace of Benny or Martha. Just 2 coffee cups on the counter, both still warm. The owner claimed no one by those names had ever worked there. He'd reopened the place just last month. But regulars swear sometimes late at night, if you sit by the window, you'll see 2 people standing by the counter, their reflections clear in the glass, one pouring coffee, the other smiling back.